Hello everyone, I'm Ruolun Weng. I'm from Shanghai Conservatory of Music, and this is Christophe Lepreton from Graham. So today we are going to show you a generator for mobile application. We call it Faust2smartphone. And we have two parts today. The first one is the general overview of the tools, and the second is we will show you some demonstrations and some related projects. So the first question is very simple. Why we create a Faust2smartphone? As you know, we already have Faust2 iOS, Faust2 Android. It's a tool for generating mobile applications with some basic interface, some controllable sliders or some faders. And as Romain just demonstrates, we have Faust2 Smart Keyboard. Will generate the mobile instruments application with some interface of keyboards. And we also have Faust2 API that will generate API files for different platforms. So Faust2 smartphone is also extended implementation of Faust2 API, but more general. It will generate edit-ready projects, and it's very flexible for update and for modify for different purpose. You can check more details online. Of course, it's all open source. To start with, the smartphone, Faust2 smartphone is very simple. We propose 3 different modes. The first one is the simple mode. It will generate a very template, very draft project, and you can start with. And the second is, we call it motion mode. It is a queue manager predefined and a motion lib pre-compiled inside the project. We will talk more this mode later. And the third mode is plug-in mode. We treat Faust as a signal processor, not only just the audio. So next, we want to talk more about the motion lib mode. So the motion lib is written by Christophe in Faust. It's a real Faust lib. And to treat the motion sensor data from the SDK, like accelerometer, gyroscope, or rotation matrix. And to use it's very simple. In the metadata, we just type motion with the function you want to call. Then you get the result. It's very simple like that. And this is very simple schema that show you, for example, in the left side in the EOS project, we have 2 engines. One is for the audio engine, and one is for the motion engine. And next, I want to show you some small video clip to show you the 3 different modes. For example, the simple mode is very simple sinus oscillators. And the second is the motion mode. We have a queue manager interface to switch between the different oscillators and controlled by the motion functions. We have also some interface to change the parameters in motion mode. And the third mode is a plug-in mode. We use the same sinus oscillators to change the, for example, the screen brightness, as you can see. Next part, we want to show you some applications using Faust2 smartphone. We want to start SFP1. It's an application created for the piece P1. It's a peony in French. It's a piece created in 2017 for performance, live performance of pipa, Chinese instruments, and Kunchi, it's a Chinese opera. We create an augmented reality world through the application based on the live performance, and the public can interactive and participate during the performance at several parts. And I show you also a small clip about the application. So it's an index, so it's not so visible. It's the first part. The public can play the application through their gestures to play the model, physical also some image move. And the second part, we active the microphone. So we capture the sound from the loudspeaker during the performance, and we did some real-time treatment like delay and reverb in real time. And also the multi-touch to trigger some samples. And the last part is augmented reality part. If we scan a target image, a Chinese poem will show on the screen just to conclude the piece. It's very simple conclusion. So next, Christophe will continue to show you more fascinating, more interesting projects using his Faust2smartphone.
Okay, thank you, Edin. So from Faust2smartphone with Aline, we decide to create a project. The name is Audio Guide. It's for blind people. So we develop application for iPhone, and like you see on the picture, the headphone and the iPhone is directly fixed with a design 3D printing. And the way is we don't have any Wi-Fi on the site. So the idea, we use beacon. So we use about 80 beacons dispatch indoor, outdoors. And the project is to create interactive installation. And depending on where you are, you start specific sound. Each beacon have 3 sound, and randomly you select a story from this beacon. And when you active a history, we use a magnetometer to create binaural access or change completely the sound in real time. So it's an example of project we use from Faust2smartphone. Another project we experiment a few weeks ago is to create for a new show, spectacle lyric show. The same ideas, the audience use iPhone, and we have a real player, and the idea, we want to synchronize the sound from the headphone, open headphone, and with the real musician, and depend of where you are, you have a specific mix of your position in the space. And so for that, we have to use, it's a little more complex project because we need a master to send the name of sound file we want to play and the DAT, because perhaps you just open your system and you need to receive this track at a very good precise DAT for synchronization. And the same, we use magnetomet to change some effect if we need, because it's a starting project in this process. Kind of this project is, so it's heavy to develop, but after the Wi-Fi access is very simple, just remote from OSC. So the sound is already inside iPhone. It's the same of previous project. So and the next, the last project we create in this way is, for me, is a long process. So it start before SmartPhost, because Graham we work with gestural and interactive installation piece for many years ago, and since 2013, SmartPhost application. So the basic, the first application we create for iOS and Android, we can create just one instrument, and you play with a gesture. And after a few years, I want to create with a composer for for a public just player like this without score or complex score. We want to create more complex, more expert piece. So the concept I want to introduce is a smart solo, and we invite the composer Vincent Carinola to create a new piece. So this piece uses 2 smartphones, and of course with the Faust2smartphone we use a Motion Lib. I developed Motion Lib for this project also. And voila, so I explain the basic of architecture of this piece. So we don't have only one Faust DSP project, but we have 33 DSP projects. And with your phone, with a gesture, you can choose where you go. So at the beginning, when you launch application, you start at state 1. So state 1, it will be anything, a mini granular synthesis, synthesizer, what you need, what you want. And with a simple gesture, you cross to another way. So state 2, or from state 1, go to state 23. So it's a circle like that, and you have 2 with the same application. So it's interesting process for development, because when I want to start that, I need to create one DSP code. Because the faust2smartphone, you have one DSP core, and so the basic of architecture, I have one state. I can switch, of course, because I need to mute the state I don't use, because it's not possible to run everything together. And so, and the choky you need is the choke module link if the state 1 go to 23 or 2. And so the problem at the end, I have this architecture of Faust. The problem of that, I have more 300 sound, so it's very heavy, so it's not possible to combine anymore. So the problem with Stefan, I need to break a part of architecture of faust2smartphone, because now the question is how we can compose Faust code inside the project, and I put in a mobile phone. So this step is, I think, is very important for the future. And so we decide to the green part is different Faust code, and the rest we directly write C++ code to resolve that. Of course, now the compilation goes very fast. It works very fine also, and but now the question is with Stefan is a C++ developer, so he can do it, but it's very custom project. So the next step that we have to speak perhaps together about that, what kind of language we can put upstairs to control and manage different Faust code together to create complex projects. So virtual rhizome, so finally we use, from the motion lib we have many functions, but finally we use very simple function. So I can to show you the basic of okay, I finish. The basic of the motion we use.
Deux, trois,
quatre,
So I change the
Trois,
state just by
deux,
motion.
1, 23, 1,
And so with the touch screen and Y, you have the level, and you listen the pitch and the rhythm, and you see you can completely with one motion separate 2 parameters. So for that we use a rotation matrix projection. And the speed of gyroscope also we can use to create specific. Okay. And so this is an extract of the piece Virtual Rhizome.
So thank you. Are there any questions?
I have two questions. The first one is, can you explain how each state is done? So it's built around the sound and then you process the sound in different ways. And the second question is, how did you work with Vincent and Jean?
It's a complex question. Yes. So if I try to show you, so with Vincent, how it works, it's complex because Vincent don't know Faust. So now the question, how we can link composer and Faust, because of course, so it's a good question. I don't, how we solve that, Vincent, at the beginning I want to give him directly kind of code from Faust. You can use it, create something. He said, oh, it's interesting, but it's not my life. Because this guy is very long experience, he know exactly what he want to do. So he said, okay, he use Max, so he create different thing with Max, and so I convert everything to Faust. Bon, so it's heavy for me because it's, for example, Urn, we already spoke about that. Composer, Urn is a magic tools. Urn with Faust, it's no easy, it's heavy. So I find another way to solve that, and so finally we do like that. So I convert step by step. We exchange because I think to convert is no complicated. The most difficulty is about the motion. How you can, because the composer when he creates simulation onto the computer, he can't understand how complex motion, how many parameters intuitive you can get directly when you get the real instrument. So this, I think, this part is the most complex part to understand what I compose if I don't play it. And when you give this when you give this application to the real performer, it's evident for him. But well, this part it was complex, and perhaps I show you Carinola. I can show you a score. If you finally, perhaps we don't have any time for that. But the question you ask me, inside each state, what we have. So we have we have a sampler. You have a multi-sampler, granulation. Là, it's a ring modulation with LFO to create distortion of the sound. So we have different, And not only that, this is a module, but we have impact. When you change the state, you create articulation of the sound. And so you select for a specific list of sound, you select the sound. I can show you after, if you want, you are interested, you can play with this application, of course. So, and finally, it's kind of the score. So this is very, well, for me it's very exciting, interesting, because it's new way. It's a new way to compose. It's not a classic score, because you can play the, it's interesting because it's like, it's an instrument, but no only instrument. Composer put inside the idea of music you can create of that. And but of course you can play this part is a part from Jean, because Jean created this piece. But finally each people, because it's a new way for audition also, because tomorrow we publish this application, and we don't need to use a classic editor. So now it's clear. The application, you download it, you get the score, you get the instrument, and you have already smartphone to play it. So, and I think we can have many different ways to interpret kind of this project. Ça a répondu?